What do you think of this Jon Jones shit that's going on? Do you know what's happened? The UFC's moving from Vegas.
I saw this last night when I got home from the Comedy Store. Break it down for me.
I'm having Jeff Nowitzki come on and break it down scientifically on Thursday. A lot of people are calling bullshit, including Daniel Cormier. I talked to Cormier on the phone. He was like, he tested positive again. Can you believe this shit? And they're going to let him fight. I found out about it from Cormier. Cormier told him, they're going to move the fight to L.A. I go, no. He goes, yes, Joe. They're moving the fight to L.A. I'm like, no, this can't be real. It didn't seem real. I'm like, I don't believe this. I looked at his Cormier's Twitter, and I said, it said he tested positive again. And then I looked, I went, what? This is like first thing in the morning. And he's like, again. But from what I understand, from reading Ariel Helwani's transcript of his interview with Andy Foster and hearing what Jeff Nowitzki has had to say about it, what it is the amount of it is so infinitesimal, and it's the exact same metabolite that he had been screened for, that he tested positive for a year ago, and that this shit could stay in a system in those kind of sizes of the molecule. It's like some 500 millionth of a grain of sand or something like that. See, Google what the actual number of like how small this molecule is. So Andy Foster has said, again, through this transcription of this interview that he did with Ariel Helwani, that it's the same metabolite for the same substance that he tested positive for. That this is the same instance, that the number of it, and it indicates that this is something he's already been punished for. It's the same exact. He's already gone through his steps, and this is just a infinitesimally small metabolite. That's what I'm hearing. So I would love to hear someone who doesn't think that that's the case, that thinks there might be some way to game the system. And the big thought that people always bring up when it comes to this stuff is microdosing. Someone microdosing. Like, you're the one who told me about that first. You were telling me about somebody,
Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, who was taking
gummy bears
that were testosterone.
And he would be up for the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. But by the time the 10th inning came, if they tested him, it would be out of his system.
So I would imagine the testing is better now, and this is one of the things that Nowitzki wants to get into, that the testing is far superior now, so you're able to pick up these metabolites in much, much smaller quantities. So
okay.
So
this test is from December 9th.
Yes.
I want to see what his test was leading up to that, and
everything apparently was clean before that. He said, we were notified early this month of an issue he has had over his most recent test where a very small amount, I'll in fact describe how small it is, of a long-term metabolite substance called DHCMT, known as oral turinabol, which is the reason for his most recent suspension a year and a half ago. A very, very small amount, but there was a number that... Where does it say the number? There was
rice.
Yeah, something like how much smaller it is than a grain of rice. Is it? Can't find it.
Yeah.
Let's try to find it. Yeah, look, I get how everybody would be fucking pissed. I get how everybody would think that he's a cheater, he's cheating again. I get that you would think that. But I don't know if that's true. And if it's not true, it would be a shame to accuse him of it. If it is the same stuff that was in his system that was ruled to be from a tainted supplement, here it is. A picogram is 1/1,000,000th of a gram, Nowitzki said. If you put 1 grain of salt on the table and split it up into 50 million pieces, a picogram is one of those pieces of that gram of salt, which is insane. So that grain of salt, it's 50 million times large or smaller than that. It's crazy. So it's very, 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 very small. So if this is true, and they believe it's true, and the guy who runs the California State Athletic Commission, Andy Foster, I have a great deal, tremendous amount of respect for that guy. Very proactive with weight cutting, very proactive with weight classes, very proactive with a lot of the rules. He's really good. If he believes that this is scientifically been proven to be from the same exact thing that he already has been punished for, I agree with them. That guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's legit. So is Nowitzki. So are these people that are all saying that it's legit. Here's the question, though. Have other people been still punished for the exact same crime? Have other people tested positive again for the exact same thing? This I do not know, and I don't know if people are looking into that. If there's any preferential treatment, that would be where the argument would be, with preferential treatment. These fucking tainted supplements are a legitimate problem. I mean, Nowitzki showed us hundreds and hundreds of supplements you could buy at any store that has, vitamins and muscle builders and all those kind of things that test positive for steroids. There's a shit ton of them out there, man. You can get a lot of stuff in these systems, but then there's also people that are taking steroids. So how do you know who's who? The only way to find out who's who is don't take shit. Don't take anything. Unless it's third-party tested. Don't take anything controversial. Don't take anything squirrely. And sometimes people do. And it's fucked up that, maybe they like a supplement, maybe they've had good results with it, and then they get one bad batch. That's possible, too.
I just want to know that this was from December 9th. I want to know what the levels of that drug they found were before December 9th.
It takes a long time to go away.
I understand. So, but every time you urine, the levels should get lower and lower and lower.
I think what they're saying is this is the lowest detectable number. So there's no lower than this.
So they should have found this before.
Maybe not.
This higher.
Maybe not. Depending. See, these numbers, the way it's been explained to me, and again, I'm not a fucking scientist, but the way it's been explained to me, this number is so small that it could conceivably be tested in one test and not tested in another test. And then also, as the testing procedures get more and more thorough, they get better at it. They're detecting things they couldn't detect maybe even just a year ago. Like it's the technology is continuing to grow, and they're getting much better at understanding how to use it and how to advance it. So it's not as simple as you test positive a year ago, you test negative today. Like they might have better methods of detection today than they had a year ago.
You got arrested today, Joe. The judge is going to say, Joe Rogan, I'm releasing you on bail, but the DA wants you to take a urine test.
Right.
And samples, and if you come back dirty. The first UA is free. They know who Joe Rogan is. You're going to go in there and your THC levels are going to be off the chain.
Ooh.
This is going to be off the chain. This is going to be off the chain. When they come back, they're going to call you. And they're going to go, Joe Rogan, this is what it was now. This is this. The next time we test you, it better not be higher than 26% because we know you're using. This is in 1987. Right. The lady told me.
Right.
I'll know if you're using or not. And I stayed to the program, and it went down, 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 down. And then I joined the voluntary group. And my buddy sent me an eighth of Thai weed. And I remember smoking a joint and going back, and the guy's like, dog, did you smoke a joint before you came in for the test? It was like levels we've never seen before. I'm telling you about this. This is a funny joke and whatever, but I want to see the test before the 9th, and I want to see the test, the most recent test. Those levels had to go down.
I understand what you're saying, Joe, but it's not necessarily correct.
Unless he did the steroid during non-competition season, which they're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want.
No, they're not. That's not true. They're never allowed to do that.
I don't know what the
No,
fuck
they can never take steroids. There's a banned list of things they can ever have in their system.
Okay.
They can say, if you're not fighting, they'll still test you. Say if you don't have a camp, you're not in camp, you don't have a bout lined up, they'll still test you. They'll not. Okay. Hey, Joey Diaz, how are you? Come on in the bathroom. We're gonna get some fluids from you.
Now,
I don't know if they're using just urine or if it's urine and blood. I'm not sure of the protocol, but I do know that it's very thorough, and they're catching people for things that they would have never caught them for in the past. And this is one of the things about this test. It could possibly be, as it's been explained to me, that this number is so fucking small that they might not have even been able to detect it a year ago. That this number, this insanely small number, there's new levels of detection now. Whereas he would be completely negative X amount of time in the past, now they can test it and they can find that insanely 50 millionth of a grain of salt size particle. It's so fucking small that they weren't able to catch something like that X amount of time in the past, whether it's a year ago or 2 years, but now they can. And in the future, it's going to be even better. They're going to keep getting better at this stuff as they advance the technology. That's, as it's been explained to me, what you're seeing here. What you're seeing here is not evidence of new drug use. It's evidence that the testing is far better and that he has this exact same metabolite, and he definitely did have it in his system because they're finding it a year later in this teeny tiny amount. His body hasn't completely gotten rid of it yet. Still in there. The question is, how long does that stuff stay in your system? They've said through normal detection, I believe, Google this, make sure this is correct, but through normal detection, which not, I mean, from whatever the time they wrote this stuff out, I believe they were saying it could be detected up to 18 months. But again, as this technology gets better and they can detect smaller and smaller particles, it's potentially possible that might extend. So like it might not just be 18 months, it might be 19 or 20, or who knows how long it takes for your body to get rid of that shit.
Now, the guys like Cormier and Gustafson and guys that, they look at this as where there's smoke, there's fire, Joe Rogan.
Yes. And they have a point too.
And they have a point also. I'm not mad at them for that. I'm a big fan of Jon Jones personally.
I am too.
For what he does, I love him to death. When I saw him in Albuquerque, he came to the show, we laughed. I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know what to think. This one really, and I feel bad. You and I both know this is the card of the year.
It's a phenomenal card.
This is the card when people fly in and they make plans around it and they do a bunch of stuff around it. I feel bad for those people. I know what this is like for them. They just lost their Saturday night activity.
Well, in Vegas, it takes a big hit too because this was going to be taking place in Vegas. All those people are going to be in town. It's going to be a tremendous amount of money for the casinos, and I'm sure it was a lot of money for them there. It's a big thing to have there, in a bigger arena. So they're moving it to the Forum, which is a smaller place. The Forum in Inglewood is, I don't know how much smaller it is than the T-Mobile Arena, but
he said Dana was saying he could make about $6 million on the gate at T-Mobile Arena, and he's going to be lucky to make $1 million in the Forum.
That makes sense.
Card was a great card.
Oh, it's a great card.
When BJ Penn's on the card and nobody even talks about it.
Yeah.
Nobody even mentioned BJ Penn.
Well, BJ's had some tough fights.
I was looking for Carlos and Michael Chiesa, Amanda Nunes and Cyborg. I haven't slept for a week trying to figure that.
Card. Put the card on.
Trying to figure that fight out. Jon Jones Gustafson. Just to look at it, let's pretend it's still in Vegas. You got a guy who's been active, a guy who's been fighting, a guy who's angry, a guy who felt he beat Jon Jones the first time against a very, very talented, dangerous, and rested Jon Jones. Is there ring dust? Ring rust? I'm sorry, ring dust. What the fuck am I talking about? Look at this, Chris Cyborg has been bitch slapping motherfuckers since day one. Amanda Nunes is something that you taught me about that's not around anymore, and that's being slick. Amanda Nunes is very slick. She's taken out some tough opponents,
She hits very hard,
She
too.
hits very
She has
hard.
really long arms, really wide shoulders.
Fucking Carlos Conduit, Michael Chiesa. This is a great fucking fight right here. Chad Mendez, Alexander Volkanovski. Fucking tremendous.
That's a great fight too. Chad Mendez looked amazing in his comeback fight. When you scroll back up to the Chris Cyborg Amanda,
I read Chris Corey Anderson's letter. It's real heartbreaking. His wife's 7 months pregnant. Now they got to get to LA. This has to be taken care of.
Yeah,
it's a disaster. But this, honestly, guys, was one of those cards that I look at and go, okay, what are the main two fights? I know. Favorite on paper, you got to go with Cyborg and Jon Jones. But guess what, people? You never seen a bookie with a part-time job. So somebody's got to lose one of these fights. Keep scrolling if you don't mind.
See, the thing about Chris Cyborg is she's not just good. She's good and big.
Oh, Katzengano, Megan Anderson. Andre Arlovski's fighting on this card.
She's Australian, you got to say Megan.
Megan, whatever.
Megan Anderson.
Me, dog. I'm no fucking English major. And you got BJ Penn, Ryan fucking Hall.
I think that's the first fight of the night. It is.
Yeah.
It's the first fight of the night.
Look.
Crazy. Yeah.
I saw a picture of
card,
Katzengano